everybody.
What's up?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Guess
this is
what?
A very special episode.
It's season 3.
Season 3.
Woo!
Woo, woo, woo. We made it. I got Duncan to celebrate.
Yes.
I'm very excited. Guys, this is crazy that we are already at season 3.
Yeah.
I feel like, I always say this. I'm like, I feel like we just started. Now I feel like we've been doing this for a little while. Like, we're kind of figuring out our groove. We're getting it.
We're 30 episodes in. Today
That's
is episode 30.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lot of episodes, you guys.
That's a lot. We've talked about many different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll be sitting, we're like, what do we want to talk about this episode? And it's like, we've already kind of covered some of the really big ones, but don't worry, we've got lots of ideas.
Yes.
Lots of fun conversations and topics we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We do have a very exciting announcement for launching season 3.
Woot woot.
Kaitlin, would you like to do the announcement?
We're Booked Podcast is launching a book club.
Yay!
It's going to be available on the app called Fable. All you have to do is make a cute little profile and then join our club, and you can find that in the link in our bio.
Yeah.
And we choose a book a month, and we can chat in the discussions, and it's super low key, really self-paced. Read what you want to read, and we finish a book a month.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
I think it'd be also really fun to maybe vote on which book to do.
Yes, you can
vote. Either on Fable, or we will probably do some of that interactive stuff on our Instagram, which I feel like is where a lot of our new listeners are coming from.
Yes.
Shout out if you are finding us from a couple of our reels.
I know.
I love that a lot of people are finding us and discovering fun
I
things.
know.
And also it's really fun to see all the relatable comments
Yes.
on our posts where I'm just like, that is me, girl.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's me.
So we love you guys. It's fun to be able to actually relate and connect, which is actually going to be what we're kind of going to dive into today.
Ooh.
So as you guys know, we both live here in New York City.
Yes.
And Kaitlin, you actually recently did a TikTok on your Book Talk account about how so many people just read here in the city.
I did. Yeah.
You want to kind of go back into that a little bit, because I think it's so cool.
Yeah. New York City, guys, it's I think there's a lot of magic in the city and also not. But when the weather's great, there's so many people that read here in the city. And I think that's super rare because New York City is so busy. People have things to do. There's technology. Literally, Google headquarters is here in New York City. But when people are out in the park taking a break, I usually see people reading everywhere. On the subway, at the park, at a restaurant, at a cafe. People are always reading, which I don't know.
It's so cool.
I don't see that a lot in other places, but it makes me want to read. Or Sophia has had very interesting conversations with people in the city about what they're reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple times where, especially when people are reading maybe ACOTAR or one of the books in the series, I'll purposely try to be like, oh, I don't know if I talked about it on the pod before, but I think I've talked about it on my Book Talk account. But there was this guy sitting next to me on the train, on a pretty busy train. It wasn't crazy, but I was reading a book for our book club. And this guy next to me was reading, and I try not to glance over too much at people, but it is kind of fun to just try to look. And I looked over and I saw at the top of the page, A Court of Mist and Fury.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh, he's trying to get...
How far was he in?
He was maybe not quite halfway.
Okay.
But he was making his way through. And so I did pull up my headphones and I was like, is that A Court of Mist and Fury? And he was like, yeah. And we just had, and he was so funny. He was like, oh, my girlfriends are telling me I have to read it. And he's like, and it was really funny. He's like, I'm trying, but I don't know. I don't know if I can get the Bat Boys. It's just it was so funny.
Aww.
But it was really fun. And so those are the kind of interactions that I love. But those are the random ones.
Yeah.
Those are kind of it happens and then you may never see that person.
That's true.
Again. But we've also had connections where we'll just be talking to people and it's, friends of ours, and it's like, oh, you read?
Yep.
And that's actually kind of how our book club was formed.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
Yeah. It was just we all discovered that we were getting more and more into reading. And our very first book club meeting was just the 4 of us. It was you, our friend Tatum, me, and my roommate.
Yeah.
And we just picked a book. And it was also kind of like a little Christmas party.
That was fun.
From there, our book club has expanded a lot, which has been really, really cool.
Yeah.
And that's literally just by bringing different people in that's like, oh, you love to read? Join our book club. And so it's been really fun to just kind of, make those connections.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about this for a while. Do you think some people are reading because they think it's trendy?
I think some people... I don't care if they're doing it because it's trendy, because it's getting them reading, which is cool.
Yes.
But I think if you are just carrying around a book to seem cool...
Right.
But I think a lot of people got into reading because it was getting cool again.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I want to know what this is about. It is getting cool. And so then I have heard people say like, oh, I started reading ACOTAR because I was like, what is this about? And everybody's, getting, or I started reading, maybe some, popular literary fiction like Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow that came out, or what have you. And so, maybe it's because it's trendy, but if it's getting people reading, I think it's fine. Like, I don't think we need to gatekeep reading.
Right.
I have seen people definitely get upset at other people because it does just seem like they're kind of are you even reading, or are you just like taking cute pictures of your books? And I don't know, not that there's anything wrong with aesthetic. Like, I love taking cute pictures,
of course,
but yeah,
there was a TikToker recently and she was so funny, but she was like, I see what you're doing. She was like, don't review books that you have not read.
I saw that too.
And she's like, don't read the back and then repeat the back of the book. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, do people actually do that?
I'm sure some people
maybe
do.
I mean, you can't read, I mean, again, unless you're Sophia, you can't read like 10 books at a time and review it immediately, especially if they're like arcs or like I don't know, an author just sent it to you. Like, if you have other books, I don't know, I don't think we should gatekeep reading, obviously, but I can tell when someone's trying to get into reading and I can tell they're not really into it, but it's like, well, oh, my friends are reading it, oh, I joined this book club, Now, thankfully, we're not around those kind of people. I could just see it, especially on social media, and not TikTok, not Book Talk, because I think those are like the real readers, honestly. And so many book talkers are honest, like, I just like to consume book talk, so I made a book talk, or I only like to talk about books. It's mostly Instagram,
and a lot of, I hate to say it, like a lot of really major influencers, I feel like we'll start like just taking pictures with like a book in the background, or like I've seen photos of like Kendall Jenner walking around and she's like carrying a book and it's like not in her bag, like she's just walking around.
What are you reading? Like, you're
I don't know.
So
it's a weird fine line where it's like, I don't want to be like, they're definitely not reading, even though they're trying to be aesthetic with it, but also I know that there are people that got into reading because they were like, this looks cool, or this looks like a cool aesthetic, and then now they are actively reading. So it's a weird thing to think about, but also I think for us, for both of us, a big part that got us back into reading was book talk and finding community and seeing books that we were interested in, knowing what they were about, that little bit of like FOMO, honestly. And so now we can truly say we're both avid readers. We love the community. We love everything about books. Like, love obviously having conversations about it. And so I think you start to just find your people within that.
Yeah. Do you remember a friend of ours, he asked us like what kind of books that we like to read? Sophia's answer was actually so true. Books that are entertaining to us and give straight entertainment. I think that's I've kind of moved away from like self-help, and
same.
I really want to read a good memoir. If you guys have any suggestions about that, because I don't read memoirs, but like I'd like to throw one in maybe this year, but I really find myself, I'm like, if I'm not entertained, I don't want to read it. I just don't.
There's this TikTok sound recently that's been trending that's like, I didn't say it was good, I said I liked it. I didn't say it was good, I said I liked it. And it's people showing different things, and I've seen book talkers using it, which is really funny. And I think it's all in casual fun, right?
That's funny.
I think the point, and this goes along with the gatekeeping reading, by the way, I've seen a lot of people that only read classics or very fancy literary fiction look down at people that just read romance or some light fantasy like YA books, and they're like, that's not good literature. And it's like, yeah, I know. Let me have fun with it. Like, you know what I mean? No, that's not to say, like, I think that some of the books that you and I are enjoying that I would put in that category of like rom-coms or fantasy or whatever are genuinely really well-written books. Yeah. But I mean, they're not classics. It's not like we're reading, you know, The Picture of Dorian Gray or whatever. Like, but, you know, but there are people, unfortunately, that I feel like are, and okay, I'm sorry, this may be controversial. And again, if people are listening and you really genuinely enjoy classics or very abstractly written books, I love that for you. But can you tell me how you enjoy that? Like, versus, because when I read, again, we want it to be entertaining. I think I also said, like, I read instead of necessarily just watching movies. Like, it gives me the same kind of feeling. Yeah. Like, I'm just being entertained. Can I not just be entertained? Like, and so if people, again, like, I want to know if there are people listening that are like, I only enjoy classics. Like, tell me how. Like, tell me why. Yeah. I'm so curious. Like, I would love to know because, like, I am definitely trying to get into classics. I'm trying to set a goal of reading. I don't know. I think I've set a goal abstractly of, like, 6 or 7 classics this year. Like, I want to read... you know, 5, 6, maybe 7 classics, you know, but I also don't want to read it and feel like I'm forcing myself to do it because that makes me a reader. That should not be the mindset. I found myself actually slowing down when I read classic books because some of them were written in the late 1800s and the way that they write is not super accessible, you know, so like I actually have to take my time and then I feel like I should annotate it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want a book that will just turn my brain off a second. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, we're going to enter a land of fairies. Yay. You know, I just see some like booktubers specifically, and I won't name any names, but there's some booktubers out there that really just read like what I would consider very like sophisticated books. And they'll like, they've read like Fourth Wing, for example, and then I'll go to the review and they're just bashing it. And I'm like, wow. Okay, again, I didn't say it was the best thing ever in the world. Now, but of course they would bash it because it's not a book that they like exactly. And then you have the opposite side of things, though, where there's people kind of like us where we may not enjoy literary fiction as much, and that's totally fine. Like, I just think you need to know your reading taste. I mean, definitely try to expand on your reading taste, but if you start finding that you're just not enjoying certain books that you feel like you should enjoy, don't like put yourself down for that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm going on a little bit of a tangent with that, but no, I think this is just like encouragement to be like, if you are finding yourself only being recommended books by people that you're like, I'm so intimidated to read that, give it a try, read the book, or at least read some of it. You never know. You may end up loving it. Yeah. But if you find yourself just struggling and you're like, is this what reading is supposed to be like? And you're hating it, put it down. Read a fun little rom-com or something. I also think, like, especially when you're coming out of a school environment and, like, you're associating classics with reading and now you don't want to get about it. I get it. I really, really get it. So go read something fun. Like, if you want to go pick up the Avatar comics, do it. Like, those are so fun for me. Or, like, a really short kind of... like, I don't want to say stupid, but stupid in like just fun. It's just fun. Yeah. Maybe the book doesn't really have a plot, and you're like, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm just vibing. Because I think after school, especially whatever major you were in, you did school from kindergarten through 23 years old, and you're like, well, I don't want to read for a while because all I read were textbooks and Jane Eyre. And now you can't have a good relationship with books. I mean, I'm 29, and I had to rediscover it after a while. And I'm still in school. But, like, having those fun stuff that I do enjoy gives a little freshness to reading. It's like if you feel like, you know, you're like you said, a reading slump basically of only because you've only ever read the books that you were told to read, that you had to read for school or whatever, and and then you're like, well, I don't want to read now, but maybe you're feeling that FOMO like we were, where it's like, oh, but everybody seems to be enjoying these specific books or this kind of, or they're loving talking about books to other people, like I want I kind of want to know what that's like.
Yeah.
Try just a fun book. I mean, I feel like we've recommended plenty of books that, yes, they're not the greatest literature in the world, but we have fun with them. We enjoy them. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? And I think that that's where, again, just talking about books in general, everybody has their own taste, of course. We've discovered that even within our own book club. But it's been cool to see what people are kind of finding as their personal
and also
book
expanding
taste.
Our, like, even if we didn't like the book, we tried it or we read it and we're like, I really don't want to read this author. I really don't want to read this genre. Totally cool. I think just trying it is okay.
Yeah. Kaitlin, I want to ask you, you have kind of done a little bit of an experiment recently with your Book Talk account.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me about it because I'm also, you know, making Book Talk content, but there was a little bit of time there where I'm like, oh, I just don't get to it all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't film often. Like I just, you know, maybe, you know, a couple days have gone by or whatever, even a week that I'm not posting content. And you took this very seriously for like a solid month, and you still are. You're still taking it very seriously. Can you talk a little bit about how you were actively trying to create book community on your account? Not only consistency, but also you just forming your own community on there. I'm just like, can you walk us through that a little bit?
No, that's good. That's a good question, Sophia.
I feel like I'm a little bit of an interviewer. I genuinely want to know because we talked about this and you were really encouraging me to take it just a little bit more seriously.
Yes.
And so, walk us through that.
Well, I think like if you're looking for book friends, which most people on TikTok are, which is so funny, there is room for that. So there was this one video and it still like gets a lot of engagement. There's more comments than likes, saves, and shares, which I'm like, what? But I said, I was very honest. I was like, I came to Book Talk to make friends and talk about books. That's really it. And then all these girls were commenting like, oh my gosh, me too. I want some book friends. And like within the comments, people are talking to each other. And so I think some of it is just being honest about what, first of all, why you want to be on Book Talk, but also like if you really are there to create community, cool, like make those goals for yourself. Sophia and I make a lot of goals for our podcast, for our TikTok. But it's more like people, I got like the nicest comment the other day where she was like, I don't remember who it was, she said that she likes to watch my content because I'm normal. And I'm like, thank you. Like it was not normal. So I'm like, whoa.
Like, okay.
Yeah, but like now she's seen my stuff. So I think like that consistency, dude, I know it's really hard. But like posting 3 times a day is like, I think that's a sweet spot, only because now one video you've let sit and then you can reach more people with a second video and third, but also you can kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work and like what's your brand. That's so funny that we're talking about this, but
I love it because it's really helpful, and also something I've noticed that you took very seriously that I'm actually now trying to implement on my own videos is really truly responding to every single comment.
Yes.
And I know that takes effort, and we've talked about that, but it also seems like you are having fun, like just responding to beep beep New York.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So that video that kind of popped off.
Right.
In the comments, people are like, I want to make book friends. So I respond, what are you reading right now?
Right.
And then some of them will be like, wait, let me DM you. I want to talk about it. And I'm like, oh, like these are actual real people, obviously. Guys, be careful on the internet. Be careful.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Book Talk people are really, really sweet and really kind. Yeah. So, yeah, I think just like you can make community online. I found some book clubs on Facebook. Fable is really fun. But Sophia and I just like, we're like, do you want to start a book club? Because I've been talking about reading Firefly Lane. I'm so sorry. You know what? I need to get to that. Anyway, I was like, let's read Firefly Lane as a book club book, but we never did it. I was just like, I said, we just have to just do it. And so Christmas, we were like, let's
just read a book
let's try it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think creating community can be online or in person, but then you also have to be very brave to say that you read.
That's true.
You have to say it.
That's true.
I actually read. What are you reading right now? Like start having those conversations with people that you know.
Like, don't be afraid to tell people that you read Throne of Glass or ACOTAR or whatever, or you know, fun rom-coms. Like, if you feel like, you know, you're having a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh, you read, what do you read? Don't feel like you have to be like, oh, I read, like, just be honest. Because what if that other person is also reading fun rom-coms?
I know.
And if you say, oh, I only read, you know, Jane Austen, like, and you feel like you need to make yourself seem more,
I know,
you know, fancy, maybe that other person's going to be discouraged.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, you never know.
I think it helps when you do say what you read, you probably will find other people who say they like it too. For example, there was this guy, I was helping our friend with a photo shoot, and one of the guys, he was sitting on the side reading the Iliad.
Oh my gosh.
First of all,
terrifying.
What? And he goes, yeah, this is the translation by Emily blah blah blah, but I've read all the translations before. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you what I read. Like, I read about Faye. Like, I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
You're like, I could tell you my favorite romance tropes, but I'm not gonna now.
I don't want to tell you I like enemies to lovers when he's over here talking about, like, yes, this translation is the most accurate of the Latin. And I'm like, y'all. Now, here's the thing. If you are reading the Iliad, congratulations.
Yeah, love that for you.
I would love to do that in my lifetime because I read it in middle school. But a book that I'm trying to read from my middle school era, again, is Little Women. Yeah. I love Louise May Alcott. I remember, like, the sisters. I don't have any sisters, so I got plenty.
You can have some of mine. Actually, what's happening is we'll just bring you into ours.
Oh, I love that.
You don't need to take any. Just join the six of us.
Okay, six. There's six of them. Yeah. So yeah, that's a book. I guess is that considered a classic?
Definitely.
Okay.
You know what's funny? I will say it's really funny you mentioned Little Women. I was just thinking about the other day. I was going through my book of classics, my little bookshelf of classics.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have Little Women. And I was thinking, should I run to Strand and try to find like a cute used copy? Of Little Women?
There was nothing there last time we checked.
Oh, really?
Remember?
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Literally nothing.
They need to fix that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've now gotten a cute little copy of Emma, which makes me want to read Emma.
Yeah. Emma,
you know, and now I have a fun copy of The Great Gatsby. Like,
did you read Gatsby yet?
I'm getting to it.
My
goal, you guys can hold me accountable. I need to read it before I see the show in May. So we've got like a month and a half at this point.
We got a little bit of time.
I am going to read it because also here's my goal. I want to annotate it. And then I want to do the, if they do stage door for Great Gatsby.
Are you going to get them to sign it?
That's my hope. I have a plan, so guys. Like, I have a vision for this.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I do not like Great Gatsby.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know the story at all. I've never seen the movie. I know nothing.
Oh, okay. Then
the only things I've seen are very quick, like, you know how TikTok will post little clips of movies?
Yeah.
I've seen those. And I've also seen the gif of the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio holding out the, glass of champagne. Right. That's literally all I know.
Okay.
So I know nothing. I don't know.
What's a book, Sophia, from your middle school or high school era that was a classic that you would like to read again?
Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm trying, again, this is what I'm trying to. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have, like, assigned reading.
Okay.
I grew up surrounded by books. My mom was very intentional about constantly having books in our home. Like, actually, when I was maybe 10 or 11, we moved the entire, like, parking garage into, like, a playroom den situation. And so the entire wall that would have been the, like, garage door is all bookshelves.
Right. Oh,
yes. I think we talked about this previously. Mm-hmm. And so my mom was very intentional about just constantly having books in the home.
Yeah.
And
mine too,
so I would just kind of read whatever. And also, I've talked about this a little bit. I read some books that I just absolutely fell in love with. But those were, like, just books meant for middle schoolers and high schoolers. But in terms of, like, literature that I read, a lot of that was Narnia, and I did read Lord of the Rings. And so a goal of mine, I mean, I've reread Narnia since, I think 2 or 3 times, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because it's actually a lot easier to read. If you guys have not read C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, It's actually very easy to read because he wrote it for kids. He kind of, it's actually, it's probably,
that's when I want to reread
it's pretty easy to read. Out of all of the, like, I feel like classics that there are.
What's after Prince Caspian?
Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Let me see if I can remember the order.
Oh, okay.
So the prequel is Magician's Nephew. That's the prequel.
But that came out after.
Yeah, but it's a prequel.
Fine. Okay.
C.S. Lewis really said, I'm giving you a prequel. Okay, so prequel is Magician's Nephew. Then we have Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, Horse and the Boy, or Horse and His Boy either comes before or after Silver Chair. But it's another.
I think it's before.
It's a midquel though, and I love it because it takes place during the Golden Age of Narnia, which is when
I didn't read past Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I never finished it.
So the Horse and This Boy. I think of it as like a midquel because it's written, and so you have Peter, Susan, Lucy, and Edmund again, and they're grown up. They're the kings and queens. But they're the grown-up version. So you have a book that's set in the Golden Age.
Okay.
So if you have only read Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian and Voyage, and you miss, the four Pevensies, read Horse and His Boy.
Oh my gosh.
Because you'll see them.
That's so cool.
And guys, they're really cool. Like, because they've matured a lot. Like, they're like, it's
Would
really,
you
really
die
cool.
For a movie like that with
Absolutely.
them grown up?
I need them all.
That would be so
I need them all. So there's the Horse and His Hoist. The Horse.
The Hoist?
The Hoist. I think that comes before Silver Chair. I think you're right. And then we have Silver Chair, which is about Caspian's son. Yeah.
Oh, see.
Yeah. So it continues.
This is fun.
And then we have The Last Battle. I don't think I'm missing any. I think that's it. But yeah, and guys, if you haven't read The Last Battle, like, I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's so sad.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Is it during the Golden Age or no?
No, this is now post Silver Chair and like everything.
Okay.
I feel like it's been out. Obviously, it's been out since like the 1930s, 1940s.
I think we forget, especially now. We forget that, like, I don't forget.
Yeah.
But I remember that C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were like,
they were besties. They would like write
kings of fantasy.
Yeah, and they like were friends. I think that's so cute. Like,
people think that they're the same writer.
Oh, I understand that. Like,
they're not though, right?
Oh, no.
I didn't think so.
But they knew each other. They were friends. I imagine that they probably like were buddy writers.
No.
I imagine like that they just like met up at a pub and like wrote. Probably not.
How cute.
But like, that's so fun.
Not us like thinking they're so cute book besties and writing besties.
They probably were.
I know. Not Sophia thinking they're so cute.
I just think that's like, I love that.
That's really sweet.
And like the fact that both of their, works like are some of the most popular books of all time, and a lot of the founding fathers in a sense of fantasy. And
also just Christian writing, period.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard for me, I'll be honest. I can't get into Lord of the Rings books. I loved all the movies, but it is really high fantasy.
It's a lot. I would say if you're looking to get into Lord of the Rings, read The Hobbit. Because The Hobbit was written a little bit more simply.
It feels cozy.
The Hobbit is cozier. And I think if you want to eventually make your way into the trilogy, do The Hobbit, take some time with it. Like, that's what I plan on doing when I do my reread, is I'm going to start with The Hobbit.
Okay.
And then it'll kind of prep you to get into the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I know it's really intimidating. That's why my plan when I reread is full annotation, because I want to take my time.
Wow.
And really, like, spend time with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen the movies probably more times than I can count, I'm going to be honest. And so, but I haven't read the books since really starting to like watch the movies. So I'm excited to read it again and kind of connect those dots, even though so much more happens in the books. Like, I'm excited to see kind of how I connect things. Anyways, all that to say, I think that there's a really interesting line between, what people enjoy as books. Like, I can say like, oh, I love Chronicles of Narnia, but maybe those are some of the only classics I've ever truly enjoyed. But then there are people that I've asked, what are your favorite books? And they say anything by Jane Austen. And I'm like, okay, but I believe these people. I'm like, I believe you. Like, and so I think it's interesting seeing what people like to read and then how you can find your community within that.
Yeah.
People that love to read classics, they're going to end up talking to people that love reading classics.
Exactly.
I love that. If you are only reading, like, say, for example, my mom reads a lot of theology books. Mm-hmm. And she's recommended some amazing ones to me, and I'm trying to get into them. But she has found people to talk to that also love those books. And so, you know, you just have to find what it is you love reading, and be honest about it. I think that's the biggest thing. Be honest about what you like to read, and you will find community. Yeah. You know?
So how do you find what you like to read?
Just try out different things.
Yeah.
I think that for right now, I really have discovered a lot of authors that I love, and what they write primarily is romance / like kind of literary fiction vibes, like Emily Henry. Yes. I would not classify her as a rom-com author. I would say that she writes. Neither. I would say she writes incredible like women's fiction. Like that's what I would say. And then truly just fantasy right now. Like I'm vibing with the fantasy. But I have also tried reading some literary fiction, some thrillers. Yeah. I have really struggled. The only thriller that I gave a 4.25 was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell.
That was a good one.
I have not found, I mean, I read a thriller, I'm not going to name what it was, but I read a thriller like 6 months ago, and I was like, this is a 2-star. I just did not like it at all. And like to the point where I was like, do I just redonate this book? Like I don't even want it, you know? Yeah. So for me right now, thrillers are not something I enjoy reading. And a lot of literary fiction that I've tried out, I'm like, okay, that was good. Did I understand it? Necessarily? No. And then it makes me feel a little bit like I'm not smart enough to read it. So I kind of keep myself from trying to, I don't want to make myself feel that feeling. Yeah. So just try. You never know. And like, that's why I think you and I, we're both challenging ourselves to read some classics this year, because you never know. We may fall, I may read Emma and be like, this was so good. Right. Or whatever, you know. So I think you just have to try. Yeah. What about you? Like,
I mean, yeah, it is just trial and error, really. Yeah. I think when I find myself bored, I'm like, I don't know about this. And then I try another one, and I'm like, same. Okay. Right. But what do I like? I like this. Ooh, let me try another one. Ooh, I like this. Yeah. So it's just really trying.
Also, I think finding a favorite author. Like once you, I think that's the other thing, is once you find a book that you really like, go into that author's backlist a little bit. Which, by the way, I had somebody ask me on my book talk video of mine recently, what is a backlist, like book? Because I was talking about reading authors' backlists. And so just to clarify, an author's backlist is books that they wrote previously to the book that you read of theirs. So, for example, with Rebecca Ross, we both read Divine Rivals to start. And then we went into her backlist, which was A River Enchanted, Sisters of Sword and Song, Dreams Lie Beneath, like, etc. So that, when we say we're going into an author's backlist, that's what we mean.
We want to read all the other books they read.
Yes, that's what we mean, is that you just want to read everything else that they've written. So, hopefully that clarifies if anybody was wondering.
Guys, hold on.
Here we go.
Welcome to our questions. You guys need to help. We don't even have a name for this yet.
I think the transition is pretty solid.
Fine.
I think I like that. Okay. I think I like it.
We have a question from Kara Dale. She's been like, day one.
Shout out,
girl,
Kara.
We love you, dude.
Like, oh my gosh, you're the best.
The best. Her question is, what's your favorite reading atmosphere? Background music, quiet, cozy room, outside?
I'll let you take this first.
Okay, I'll go first. I need complete silence. Nobody talk, no music. That might be so crazy to say, because Sophia, you like,
I'm the complete well, I'm not the complete opposite. I need vibes. One of my favorite things to do, you guys, whenever I'm reading a book, is go into my Spotify, look up the name of the book, find a playlist. So people have created playlists for just about any book you can find. One of my favorite recent ones was when I read What the River Knows, which, as we all know at this point, is one of my most recent 6-star reads. So if you have not read What the River Knows by Isabella Baños, please do. But what I literally did is I went into my Spotify and I just looked up What the River Knows. It came up as an audiobook first, I think. But then people have created playlists. And I just put one on,
what?
And the vibes, like, some people are geniuses. I don't know where they're finding this music, but like, it makes me feel like I am in the story. I think that, so I don't always see words on a page as visualized in my head like a movie. I don't quite have that experience, but if I'm listening to a soundtrack, man, like, let me tell you another one. So when I was reading Olive Throne of Glass, I started with the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. But here's the thing, guys. I have watched this movie so many times that I can literally...
associate
it only with Lord of the Rings. And like I can literally, when a scene is happening, like when the Fields of Pelennor or the Battle of Pelennor like soundtrack was coming on, I hear King Theoden's voice in my head of like, ride now, ride for that. And so like it took me out of reading the story. And so I ended up putting on Bear McCready's The Rings of Power soundtrack, which is the Amazon like the show is fine, but it's the like prequel Lord of the Rings, and that soundtrack gave me the vibes that I needed because it was that fantasy.
So maybe you gotta look around.
You have to look around. You have to find what works. But anyways, to answer that question, for me, I need the vibes. Mm-hmm. I just need a playlist that pulls me in.
I will say, besides the silence for me, I'll put on TV maybe like fire. Like a crackling fireplace, or a cozy library, or like some people wanted, like they love white noise, and I'm like,
I sleep to white noise.
What?
Yeah, I do. And either that's having a fan on in my room, or if like there was a little time when our fan was just broken, and I just had to like look up white noise on my phone, which made my screen time go up like crazy because it was like 10 hours of white noise.
Oh boy, love that.
But yeah, I'm like a white noise girl, so I get it.
When the weather's nice, I'll go to the park
for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I will try that though. I'm gonna try that. Let's see what happens.
It's so fun, you guys.
Well, happy season 3, Sophia.
Yay,
and Book Friends.
Season 3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We are so excited to be back, like we said, with a new season. Go to our Instagram to find the link for the Fable book club. We will probably also have it linked in the YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube, y'all. Which, like, again, don't forget, we are on YouTube. Yes. So we will have that linked up. We will be ready to interact with you guys and pick a book and get started on that. We are so excited to be, starting a book club with you guys.
I know. Yay. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so we're excited to hang out with you.
Yay. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for all the support. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.